This is why you turn off your vehicle the second you see low oil pressure. So for those who have been following us, here we have that poo-poo S55 oil pump that died, presumably when, most likely, the transmission lost third gear, had a shock load. Oil pump's done, but this is why you need to make sure you turn that vehicle off ASAP. So over here, this is that same S55 that lost the oil pump. Look at our conrod bearings. These are done for, completely smoked, right? Now, come in here. Look at the mains. Mains don't look too shabby, right? So now, I'm going to explain to you why the mains are good, but our connecting rod bearings are toasted. So our mains, as you can see here, they sit in the block, all right? These are the upper shells, and you'll notice that we have a galley, all right, that's going to supply oil to all of our main bearings. However, our connecting rod bearings do not. So you can see here, our conrod shells are simply going to sit in the connecting rod, and I'll grab one of the rods here, all right, and the rods are fine, but there is no supply directly to these connecting rods. So what's going to happen is these rods are going to depend on oil that is in the actual sump to lubricate and set that actual film between our conrod and our shell, and then our shell and our crankshaft. So generally speaking, in a situation where you lose a pump, there's so many different variables that come into play, but the mains are usually going to be something you can save, so to speak, in relation to having to worry about losing a connecting rod bearing because you lost your oil pressure. Close it out with this little piece of informative tidbit, all right? So when you lose your oil pressure, and in this case, it wasn't a complete loss, we still had 15 PSI, I believe, in idle, you're still gonna have your wedge of oil, you're gonna have your layer of oil that is gonna coat and sit here between your bearing and your actual crank. But what you lost now is a pressurized wedge, all right? So now that film has the inability to separate metal on metal, no pressure, metal on metal, and you end up like this, which is why it is important when you have a situation like that, turn the car off immediately, call someone, wave someone down. I don't care if it's a pickup truck, school bus, dump truck, have them push your bumper. Because at the end of the day, you'd rather have to replace a bumper than a whole engine. And in this case, we don't have to replace a whole engine, but as you can see, we caught it with the rod bearings. Luckily, the main survived, so this is why it is super important to ensure that you turn that fucking car off the second you see low oil pressure.